I'm here to talk to you about this mind-blowing idea about how you can actually solve the problem of Web3 space end-to-end instead of just talking about the smart contracts. And this is the story about multi-chain, so we'll cover that part as well. So it's not about NEAR today, actually, it's about the Web3 space. So as you can see, deploy frontend once, available everywhere. And as I said, the whole story of Web3 space so far was that you have your key app, you have your source code, the smart contract deployed to chain, or the wasn't deployed to the chain, rather, and you have some UI that the users would use to interact with your app. And previously, we would use classical Web2 storage for all that and store our assets on S3 or on some regular web storages, right? But what's new here, what we do offer in NEAR system, and why do we call it BOS? So, as I said, in the regional space, we have the front end that's stored in all those centralized locations out there. And if the front end dies, I would doubt that people would actually use your app. And you would actually left out with a lot of smart contracts that are not used anymore. That's what I see all the time on the hackathons, for example. So, not anymore. With the BOS, what we can do, we can deploy the source code or like the code of your front end on the blockchain. You can say like I can do it for APFS, right? But it's a bit more than that. This front end code that we deploy, it's not just regular JavaScript code. We provided some smaller runtime that allows us to combine other apps together in a secure way. So imagine you would bake in your existing app into Facebook immediately in the feed in a secure way, not evaluating JavaScript code right there. So it is a whole ecosystem of tools that allow you to do that. And this environment is called blockchain operating system. That's how we call it in NEAR. Why it's OS? Why is operating system? So we actually have very similar ideas to regular operating system like iOS, Android, which basically provides you with some set of APIs and nice tooling that as a developer you benefit from because it helps you to build apps faster. As a user, it benefits you because you have a secure apps, secure components that are interplaying with each other in a single platform with one or many accounts you own in different chains. We're not limiting you to mere integrations with our blockchains, including keys, and we plan to extend further. And instead of having all that code living somewhere else, it's all available on blockchain, and you can run it and see on your screen through the small runtime process. And it's just a small VM which can execute JSX code in browser, and you basically store large assets still on IPFS, but then and do your coding in smart contracts in your language of choice, platform of choice. While the UI is also stored on the blockchain. We currently use NEAR, and this is there are some benefits of that, so we'll cover that in a little bit. And yes, that's a bit of mind-blowing. You can interact with any blockchain that's set, and what is even more important, that it's even though it's released on the blockchain, you don't need some specific URL to access it. You can have many endpoints. You can have many those we call gateways that would be host from whereas the main names, whereas providers could host one, they could imply some or like uh, create some rules or like, in terms of censorship if they want, if they are legally required. So this whole framework is all about not only um, breaking the ground, but also playing in the rules of existing legal space, because we recognize that in order to get mass adoption, there should be some ways to apply the existing rules and play within the frameworks. So instead of going through all the words, I'd love a demo what we can have here. So whenever you go to the NEAR org website, when you're not authenticated, you'll be greeted with this page. And the mind-blowing part is that this whole page is already a component. So it's already served from the blockchain team. So this whole page experience is already dog-fooded, it's on the boss. And you can always hover over the top navigation bar, which is nicely built in order for you to explore. So it's NEAR org homepage component. Display full screen, and we can go view details, review the code right there. So you can see there's some CSS styles, and at the very bottom of it, you can see there are some other components rendered in place. So I'm requesting some other components integrated right there. So this is fine. Like, and what I love to tell about it is that we are not just, telling that it's good. We're showing that it's good. It's capable to serve the landing page. The landing page is boring, right? You can post it anywhere. What's next? We can build a social network on it. So this is our use case here. Yes. So, well, there is a feature in the back on this page that you can see. There are a lot of loaders. Each loader is representative of one component being rendered. So those all small loaders are all small. Even down to like button is a separate component that is loaded on this page. And the data for it, so that you can see the code, the source code of the front end lives on the blockchain. The data lives on the blockchain. And all experience is available by just having a small JavaScript runtime that is capable to just thread pieces together and allow you to do that. So if you go and view this page, so this page is composed of three columns, right? Feature components, post, and applications. And if you go and drill down to it, again, as I showed you before, discovering the panel, view details, you can see that the page consists of all this code, and at the bottom we have some widgets. This widget, and on the right we have nice introspection over the components. So if we go to posts, and then go to the feed, and then go to so feed is a array of posts. So each post component is just a compilation of all those dependencies and like button, for example. So we can drill down to a very small bit of our code, and at the end of it, we will see this like button and on-click handler that does all this stuff. So this is, I believe, super nice, and we can. So to prove that it's not, prescriptive, it's not fake, we can do it immediately from here. So I and then greet it with a component here. So I can render it. So it's flow world right there. But it's not on chain yet. So let's give it a name. So all we do, so this preview window is part of this boss. There means that no transaction will go from my account from this component without me noticing it. So whenever I want to interact with the blockchain, in this case I want to store the data, I need to confirm that I'm aware of it. And this is something like draw the parallels with iOS. On iOS, when you open the app and it asks you, do you want to let this app to access the camera? Do you really want to give it like access all the time or just for this case? So the same here. And now we have this component, void, and we can go and move that. So as such, we'll really have this for the new widget AwesomWasm as a URL. And the cool part of it is that you can go and open it, this exact component on a completely different domain. So let's use our social domain where we host another gateway. So it looks a bit different on the top bar, but our component is exactly the same. We go to the new one, let's say WasGG. It's exactly the same component, but it's more like other like default styling that this specific gateway likes to apply. So this is a whole story that you deploy it once. It's available everywhere. You can build build your component and mix it with other experiences or use other components in your app. So let's look at some existing examples. So there is a swap, swap app hosted on the BOS. We have Ethereum integration, so we have MetaMask and all that tools available right here. We also have some NEAR similar experience from Refinance, which is loaded by default. We also have search for NIDA. You can find it here. This is from like Ethereum ecosystem again. And you can always dig into the source code and learn and study how it's done. So we have just users, and that's all we need. Same story with NEAR. We have NEAR. I imagined there would be something similar to Cosmos once you guys do there. Some will contribute to it eventually, or somebody else will add it. And we have, so to prove it even more, we have built a NEAR Dev Hub. It's a single platform for developers in NEAR ecosystem. So operate on a single platform and share their ideas, find funding, and just discuss certain developments or proposals. And it's all, again, on the BOS available on all the domains I've shown before. So getting back to the slides, why it matters and why do we need to build it? I think in Web3 ecosystem there is this fragility of islands living independently. All the blockchains and apps on the blockchains are living on their own domain. They're not interacting with each other. It's very hard to get everybody on board. Every single app needs to sort the problem of authentication and access key management and all that stuff. Onboarding of the users is very hard. Uh, and even developer experience is not very great when you have myriad of different ways to do things. So this single platform would allow us to agree on something and actually build some ecosystem in one place and evolve it from there. And through that, gain network effect from more users. Users will attract more apps will attract more users, and so on and so forth. Another problem that I see that is there is a vendor lock. Vendor lock already hit hard last year and this year. Twitter, Reddit closing the APIs, and you can do nothing about it. If your app wanted to build some traction with those APIs, you're out of business now. With blockchain, why even this platform, not Facebook apps or something like this? This is all permissionless. We are living in a world where we can be in control of the apps and what we deliver to our members. Another way is to use this space is that we can not only post the apps on this platform, but our app will be immediately available on all other applications out there. There is an interesting example in China. There is WeChat, where the whole internet lives in the single messenger. The problem is, however, if you are banned from that messenger, you are out of this internet. But it's an interesting concept that you have this integrated experience where everything is interconnected with your account. With the blockchain space, we can leverage the account system more, this decentralization and permissionless model at a different level, and without being at mercy of some vendors. And BOS itself, as I said, it's a platform where you have we thought about the developer experience and what we can offer. So as I said, it provides a nice set of APIs immediately available for Web3 developers. So this NEAR, East, and Cosmos APIs should be all available out of the box. In this way, it would be easier to build multi-chain stores on there. And from the user, they will finally get it. They will finally get the app and use it just like any other Web2 app, but with the benefits of Web3 space. So, well, the problems we see that in Web2 world there is censorship, front-end user retention, lack of data ownership, lack of privacy. Hopefully we can address that. On the Web3 space there is fragmentation, scalability, and multi-chain, IDC, all that part is very complex, and we hope the BOS can make it more easier and single place where everybody can be collaborating on. Yeah, so it's already said basically that the whole experience is trying to be well thought and solved for the developers and for the users. Developers will have the same APIs they're already familiar with. Users will have similar experience. They don't need to sign in on every new website over and over again. And they can choose which app they would use. They could even use your app from their, Snapchat app if Snapchat could eventually integrate BOS as their widget. I will share some interesting showcases from NEAR ecosystem specifically. There is problems that we want to solve for general crowd for mass adoption, which is authentication, where currently on Web3 you need to go through on-ramp, creating an account, managing your key, and all that stuff. With WebAuth, standard Web2 technique and a feature of modern browsers. You can store the key in your keychain or your operating system, and all you need basically to create an account in this on your org website. You would enter your email and receive the like second factor authentication link while storing the key in your keychain in your on your device. So you can already do it today. You can open your browser on mobile, go through the sign up process, and it will only ask for biometric authentication from you. And yeah, so well, I'm not here talking to you about the dead space. It's actually quite vibrant right now in your system. We have a lot of components built, and we're expanding more and trying to see what other chains are struggling with. So I'll be attending all sorts of hackathons and showing what can be done. I've been to East Prague beginning last month, and I was approached in the terms during the hackathon what they are using for their apps, and they were, oh, we use Polygon. Now, I'm talking about the front end. Front end is boring. We're building on Next.js and Vercel and and who is paying for hosting? We will pay for a little bit, or we'll use a trial for the time of hackathon. So we are building that app from the get-go. This is not fun, and I've seen this so many times, and it's so depressing, to be honest. And after the hackathon, we had 10 submissions from people who challenged themselves to jump on the tech, and they actually were very successful at that, and same day. So it is not a huge barrier of entry right there. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. There are some edges in there. You cannot use TypeScript, for example. You have to use JavaScript for now, but it's solvable with the tool that is coming. It's actually I have a slide about it. So NPM support and library support and TypeScript is all solvable by the tool, while the core of it is already there, and you can join the process and continue the tooling. Yeah, some notifications is not a problem to solve, but it's very close to being solved. Yeah, blockchain integrations, more coming. So hopefully, we'll see more apps and more support from the boss itself. So just to recap, so we have composable components. So it's not just one component. And all those components are deployed on the blockchain. They store there permanently, or until you choose to delete it. But in the history, you can always recover and see the history of the changes. So we already have kind of it on chain. We have all sorts of gateways already. Different teams are running for different needs. Some of them are experimenting with other blockchains, IBC, or other features, and then it eventually blends into the common AwesomWasm framework available on all the gateways later on. So we have already that way it has to Ethereum integration. Initially it was only story, but we always saw that we would want to have all the blockchains available. And then we have this fast AwesomWasm, which I already showed you. So basically, you don't need to manage your keys. You don't need to go through some weird key experience of registration. You just use the biometric for your register. So we try to solve those problems for the users first, and then we show the developers also that in the audience. So all together, this is the boss. Blockchain operating system, and I think it's a pretty neat and small idea, which is which should break the Web3 space and finally bring the adoption to regular users, to internet users out there. So yeah, thank you. That was my talk. Great to take questions.
Thank you. I want to ask if there is any system for version of something where you load that component is immutable or you could take it. Also, I have another question, which I saw there is a gateway to render that component. It's possible to query that component through RPCL or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely have the components are stored as a text on the chain. So given that you can always make a view call to the chain with a specific block height set, this is the way for you to ensure that it's immutable. It's exactly the version of that moment in time, and you cannot change it. So you can specify that when you include the components, so when you use the reference to the widget, or in your URL itself, there's a way to add, if I remember correctly, add symbol and the block. And second question was about what was it? Yeah, we're in a PC for sure, because it's basically text on the chain, and it's a view call. So all the gateway does, it actually makes those view calls. So it fetches the data, fetches the source code, making those view calls from the blockchain, and then executes it in the browser. We have CLI for that, but you can use any NEAR tooling, JavaScript tooling, Rust tooling to interact with the blockchain and fetch the necessary codes on that. So just regular RPC calls, so you can even use curl for that.
Thanks, very interesting. Are you worried at all about increasing regulatory attacks here? Because by offering this, someone deploys like a mixer to NEAR as a company, I don't know how it's exactly laying a foundation, right?
Yeah, very good question, and this is where I all started. So all those gateways are designed to be applying their own rules as they need. If some request comes in, they will just apply and decide whether they will display or not display the data to the user. So from the blockchain point of view, it's permissionless, but from the display point of view, it's up to the gateway to apply certain rules and be compliant with the legal requirements. We already have this deployed to, I guess, NEAR.org. NEAR.org website filters out some of the spammy content, which is currently just a demo, basically. So it's almost like hard-coded set of accounts that needs to be scrapped when you show the feed. For example, feed post. It's already, we have some motivation on there, and you can even flag the post. I'm not sure what exactly that would do underneath, but the mechanisms are there, and it was from the get-go designed to take that into account. Any other questions?
I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but
Yeah, it's not React, but it's very like that. So it uses JSX. It has state management that's a bit different, but it was inspired by React, and we actually looked exploring the way how to bring the React actually to the space, because otherwise we've been there with assembly script support on NEAR. So we had initially started with Rust and assembly script as development platforms for smart contracts on NEAR. And what we discovered that people actually rely a lot on the third-party apps, third-party libraries. And whenever we were saying, oh, well, assembly script looks like JavaScript, they would jump on it, but then they were really disappointed because they couldn't use all the richness of the platform. So then we eventually had to re-implement the whole tooling in NEAR system to build JavaScript SDK, which bundles real JavaScript code into a single bundle, and we sideload it with the JavaScript runtime and compile it down to WASM, which is a bit of a tricky way to do it, but it actually boosted a lot of like adoption of smart contracts, because Rust, as much as I love it, not many people are ready to jump on it immediately, especially during hackathons. And this was a major boost. So this is why we invest a lot into getting JavaScript full potential available to developers. I think I'm out of time. Thanks everybody. It was a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I'm available here and I'll be staying over the hackathon as well. So catch me once to learn more.